the British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.
The 650 British Superlite Championship began its season in Wigan, where less than a week earlier the circuit had been covered in snow. But by race day conditions were perfect and the competition was fierce. Some were keen to make their mark as newcomers to the sport, while others were desperate to claim the victory that had so far been just out of reach.
I ended 2012 okay. We had a bit of a wet year, so I struggled a little bit in the wet, so I didn't really do myself justice, to be fair. Coming into 2013, we came here for round one.
That's a great start from the man on the inside from third on the grid, Tony Turner there. Looked like he maybe got a bit of a jump there, Chris, to be fair.
Yeah, I think he did get a bit of a jump, if we're honest there. Just anticipating the start and maybe getting it slightly awkward. Jake Swan.
On the grass, by looks of things.
Absolutely, yeah, very wide there, and losing 2 places there as Phil Redfern came through, and number 41, Anthony Jackson too, but at the moment it's Tony Turner out in front.
Up the inside, Jake Swan puts his Superlite, the 110 machine, ahead of the 92 machine, and Joe Walton has to settle for third.
Will we see Tony Turner starting to drive a little more defensively now here?
Jake's looking to dive up the inside. Can he get it? Yes, he manages to just sneak it through, threading the eye of the needle there, Jake Swan. He just got on the brakes that a little bit later than Tony Turner and managed to sort himself out. A bit of a concertina at the effect at the back there, because I think Tony Turner just braked a little bit early for that left-hander, and I think Phil Redfern ended up running into the back of Joe Walton, but as it is, Jake Swan is out front, and now we'll have to see whether Jake's got the pace to disappear. Lots of pressure from Phil Redfern. Phil looking to try and dive up the inside there, but Joe at the pace, but so late on the brakes there, he lost the back end.
And we've got a spinner as well just going on to the dirt section. I think that's Gordon Knox, number 47 there. There we pick up Jake, our race leader, just coming past him. He's managed to get through there cleanly.
I don't think Phil Redfern knows anything about stopping until the checkered flag's been waved.
He barges his way through there.
Way through on the inside. Tony Turner's having none of that and gives a little bit back and says, yes, I've got a handbag too.
Wheel to wheel, both of them chucking handbags at each other. Redfern up the inside, he's got the inside line now, and Turner forced to brake there.
He was probably about 9/10 of an inch between him.
Oh, the inside he goes.
The drive up the inside. No, Jake Swan closes the door, drifting the back end out wide. They come down the hill and then again firmly closing the door, Jake Swan. But Phil Redfern's got the drive. This is going to be a photo finish.
Absolute classic finale to race number 1, and Jake just hangs on to it. A brilliant finish to 650, race number 1.
Made a mistake in this corner and he went wide, so I caught up to Tony. Just got him, nipped him on the inside and reeled Jake in, but his wide car to pass.
Race number 2 of the 650 Championship. And again, Tony Turner off the inside, which is actually third position. It's not pole position. And he managed to get a bit of a jump. And Jake Swan finds himself in third place this time with Phil Redfern in second. Tony Turner just getting slightly sideways. And Phil Redfern dives up the inside into the dirt section now. And we're going to see that roost. We just cut away from it, unfortunately. But Tony Turner, no doubt, getting a face full of that dirt and dust coming off the dirt section. But Phil Redfern's through into first place. And at the back, that's number 69, getting himself in all sorts of mess. A big hit, yeah, really big hit. Oh, dear me, that's all gone a little bit wonky there. Tim Page mounted the back of Danny Kerwood's number 7 Superlite there. Loose tyre on the inside, and somebody's gone off doing a bit of grass cutting there. It's
that's Jake again, isn't it?
Anthony Jackson in the number 41 Superlite. Jake going to try and dive up the inside, then thinks better of it, cuts to the outside, and then sneaks it back up the left-hand side. And again, Anthony Jackson just managing to keep track position and hold the young charger Jake Swan at bay. I think Phil Redfern's just about got this one sorted out, Chris.
Yeah, and Tony just missing the apex here a little bit and drifting out wide as Phil Redfern takes the checkered flag for 650, race number 2.
I was leading to start with, he got me. I thought, right, I'm going to have him here, and I really pushed him hard, but he drove really well, very fair. So I'm on second on grid this time, so hopefully get a good run off in the start and try and lead and try and hold it this time.
So the drivers are all settling down into their grid positions for this final 650 race of the day. We've got the grid cleared at the front. We await the lights going out again, and a great start from Tony Turner from the centre of the grid, and he manages to get the whole shot into first place.
And really chasing down Tony Turner and having a look up the inside as he come down Paddock Straight and into Paddock Bend. Is going to be late on the brakes. Tony Turner going out wide. Phil Redfern hugging the inside, the side by side here for a moment, but Tony just getting the advantage there. And number 41 Anthony Jackson just joining in the battle there, and Phil Redfern looks like he's through.
And somebody's upside down. That's 21. Tyre rolling off into the distance in the back of the shot. Hopefully the driver in car 21, Wayne Stockbridge, is perfectly okay.
We're now back on board with Jake Swan, who's having a look at number 41 Anthony Jackson as they're going around Paddock Bend, getting the power down then, and they're going to enter the valley as Jake goes up the inside and makes a move on Anthony Jackson through then into third position. Tim Page there just with his wheels in the air, and it's maybe not the quickest way because you want to make sure all your wheels are driving. As he spins now, Sadie Redfern has to take evasive action.
Danny Kerwood in the number 7 machine coming under lots of pressure from Joe Walton. Sadie Redfern seeing the opportunity to go around the outside but gets on the brakes very late, locking up that outside rear tyre there.
Phil Redfern out in front, taking the checker flag for a brilliant race win.
Qualifying seems to be my Achilles heel at the moment. Obviously I need to be in front of all the guys in front. Starting in the middle of the pack, it's always difficult to make headway.
But 8 points clear in the championship after one round. Phil Redfern takes the top spot ahead of Tony Turner and Jake Swan. Round 2 was at Redknapp Raceway on the Welsh border. In the inaugural meeting at the venue came a familiar face to the championship, and after missing round 1, came with a plan to kickstart his season.
I bought a brand new car for this season. It's taken a bit of getting used to, but it's all coming together.
Round number 2 here at Redknapp Raceway in Oswald Street, and a fantastic start from number 41 there. That's Anthony Jackson.
Joe Walton there, number 92, getting past Jake Swan there for second place.
Jake Swan in the 110 machine in third place at the moment, coming under the attentions of the man in the number 4 machine, and that's Paul Hudson. And Paul looking to try and put the pass on Jake, but Jake just holding his line and keeping it tidy. And as you said, Chris, there's not a lot of room around this place to try and put a pass on. So Anthony Jackson takes the win in race number 1 here at the Redknapp Raceway. Joe Walton in second. Jake Swan, he picks up third place. Paul Hudson in fourth there.
Started on the pole, so we got off, pulled a bit of a lead. Joe was sort of keeping a steady pace behind, but never really got close enough to make a challenge.
They did, and running to get out of the way of those Superlites as they charge towards the first turn, and it's Anthony Jackson who's managed to get the best of it into the first turn. Joe Walton from second place demoted down to fourth.
Yeah, Jackson really running away with it. It's all getting a little bit leery for these
Tony Turner's in a bit of a mess there, Chris. Sorry to interrupt you.
And yeah, that's really messed up the race for the other guys there trying to come through.
The man in the sandwich at the moment is Jake Swan in third place here, and as we've said before, Anthony Jackson seems to have cleared off into the distance.
It's certainly looking
brilliant pass from Jake Swan. Sorry, Chris, you carry on. Pick that one up. Brilliant move from Jake there.
The contact's made there, Paul overslides it, and Joe Walton does not hesitate in barging his way through there up into third place. And Joe Walton's made, well, not even the same mistake as Paul. He actually just complete understeer there. I think he got a little tap on the way in, and that's messed his race up because he's not just lost the one place he gained, he's lost 2 now to Phil Redfern.
And there's a Superlite pulled off to the outside. That's 52, is it? Or is that 21?
Wayne Stockbridge. And at the moment, Anthony Jackson having it his own way in 650, race number 2 for the checkered flag.
It's looking like the weather might be slightly different towards the end of the day. How's that going to make a difference for you?
It's looking iffy, but I enjoy the wet, so it should be good.
It doesn't take a detective to spot the difference, and it started raining here, and the lights go out and they're underway, and a good start from Anthony Jackson, but Jake Swan in the 110 machine on the inside there getting a pretty decent start as well. Number 4 is Paul Hudson in third place at the moment.
Jake up the inside to take first place. A great move, and he's overslid it. And now it's number 41, Anthony Jackson, back into the lead. And Jake's got it himself in all sorts of bother there. And Was that Sadie Redfern, was it, at the back? Got entangled with him as well too.
Danny Kerwood's got the better of it, but that looks like somebody sneaking up the inside. Is that Jake Swan recovering, working his way back up the field? And I think Jake definitely really hobbled himself at the beginning, didn't he? He was clearly very, very quick, but he just overcooked it. Too much ambition too early on, and he's paid the price for what could have maybe been a race win. Just time to take a little roll off there, but he's pretty quick now, Chris, but he'll be kicking himself for that mistake early in the race. Jake was getting much better traction, and again, you see, that's the business. Jake Swan gets the power down whilst Joe Walton is spinning up and his back end is squirreling away, fishtailing left, right and centre. Jake Swan is through, and he looks like he may have the pace to just pull away from Joe Walton now.
No, but late on the brakes, left the door wide open. Can Joe come back at him? He has done.
It's the same corner he made the mistake before, Chris.
Amazing, and actually running into the back of Joe there, and a little bit of contact. I don't think there's any damage done, because you can see how the underside belly of the Superlites are chamfered off there to allow that, and it looks like Danny Kerwood's in a bit of bother there. Bit of understeer, locking up the brakes, even into reverse. He's going to get his race going again.
Yeah, as you were saying, Chris, a little bit of frustration from Jake Swan after making that same mistake on the same turn that he did all those problems for his race in the first lap, where he just got it in all sorts of a mess. Oh, and Joe Walton's lost it completely again, coming out of that right-hander. Tony Turner's running a little bit down the field. He's down in 6th place at the moment, so I guess Gordon Knox is entitled to race with him at the minute, because I think Gordon's in front.
Completely stopping the Superlite there, blocking Tony's race there, and actually, yeah, Gordon is having a battle with Tony Turner, so I'm not sure what's going on with Tony here, because we saw him really being a serious contender in round 1. And with 2 turns remaining, one to the right, one to the left, he's coming over the line to take the checker flag, and a brilliant 3rd race win for Anthony Jackson.
We had a little second corner incident. We got sort of a little bit tangled up, managed to keep it going, and just again drove a clean race and managed to finish and bring it home to get 1st place.
So a brilliant meeting in round 2 puts Anthony Jackson in 1st place in the 650 standings, ahead of Phil Redfern and Jake Swan. Tony Turner moving his way down to 5th.
The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com. The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.
Another new venue to the British Superlite Championship for round 3 was Finmere, a former World War II airbase in Oxfordshire. With the season now in full swing, some drivers were trying to keep up with expectation, while others were finding the setup for the largest off-road section of the season.
Drivers away, and a good start for the man in the number 4 machine. That's Paul Hudson from the inside there. He's got to the first turn first.
Sadie Redfern seems to have had a bit of understeer and no doubt crashed into the barriers there. Gordon Knox having a real look at Jake, and that's to his credit. Gordon Knox, one of the new drivers to the championship, and really seems to have got the bit between his teeth with this, really giving chase to Jake here.
Big understeer there for Andrew Crombie, straight on into the hay bale, and that would have been a bit of an eye-opener for him. Andrew's rejoined. Good driving from Andrew there to let the man in 2nd place through, and probably the rest of the guys behind him. Not too much time lost by Tony Turner or Anthony Jackson there, or any of the other guys there. Well, no, Tony Turner actually is still stuck behind the back marker and gesticulating wildly, so I'm afraid I'll have to eat my words there. I was very wrong.
Well, he gets the power down and gets past him. We're now on the final lap, and just clipped a cone there, number 41.
That's Anthony Jackson. Not left enough room there, unfortunately.
Up the inside of Tony Turner comes number 41, Anthony Jackson there, and a big mistake for Tony Turner, losing a lot of time there as Paul Hudson takes the checkered flag for 650 Superlites, race number 1.
There was a lot of off-road at Finmere. It was short, but I think it probably suited my driving style. I do like to throw it around a bit, and it paid off.
when the lights go out, they'll be underway, and it's a good start again for the man in the number 4 Superlite. Time to look in his mirrors, just check what everybody else is doing. Fairly clean start, everybody just after you, sir, into that first turn. There's no room there for two drivers to be going side by side, so they've got to get themselves sorted out in that run up to the first turn. But again, Paul Hudson gets the whole shot.
Danny Kerwood having a battle as up the inside comes Jake Swan there. A great move from Jake, and he pinches that place then. And a real battle going on here between number 88 and that's Gordon Knox making a move then on Andrew Crombie, and great to see those two battling it out.
Yeah, good move there, really aggressive and plenty of purpose coming out of the corner, and managed to get a good run around the outside, and Andrew Crombie being polite enough to leave enough room.
Well, Tim Page has got a Jake Swan on his tail, and he's no doubt going to be giving a real chase here and putting this man under serious pressure. Another battle behind them then is Phil Redfern's coming under the attentions of Danny Kerwood too, but look at this, and as you said, Luke, you know, the corner entry speed for up, that's Gordon Knox, isn't it, going straight through the tyre wall there.
Yeah, I was just going to say that as they sort of navigate their way around that big jump.
And Redfern and Jake Swan coming together there, and well, that's really scuppered Jake's race there. Can he get it in reverse? Can he back it up? Can he carry on after he'd done all the work there? Phil Redfern having a go at Tim Page. Up the inside he goes. Phil Redfern takes 2 places there, thank you very much.
Yeah, Phil Redfern clearly carrying a lot of speed there, but there just wasn't enough room for Phil and Jake to both get through that narrow gap. And poor old Jake Swan has found himself on the sidelines. Hopefully not too much damage to that Superlite, and he can regroup and come back in the next race. But that's the win for Paul Hudson in the second 650 Superlite race of the day.
A bit of a coming together and came off worst, I think. It's the best way of putting it.
I thought he was maybe a little bit optimistic with the move, shall we say.
The final 650 Superlite race of the day, and Jake Swan at the back of the grid's got a lot of work to do. A championship contender in 2013, and he'll be desperate to salvage as many points from this one as possible. Paul Hudson looking for the opportunity to make it 3 out of 3. Great start from Tony Turner to get himself into second place.
And Phil Redfern going deep and up the inside.
Fantastic, Phil. Brilliant shot there from on board with Tony Turner in that number 84 Superlite. That's a fantastic angle. We're loving that.
It was Jake Swan going the opposite way. He's had a bit of a misdemeanor there by the looks of things, and I think someone else was involved. I'm not sure who it was that had just caught briefly in the shot. I'm not sure if they were passing him or had actually collided with Jake.
Ian Biswell now down in 5th at the moment and chasing down Tony. That's a big bail. You don't want to be collecting one of those at 90 miles an hour or whatever he was doing there.
There's Tim Page there, number 69, has pulled up too, so that's the end of his race by the looks of things. Sadie Redfern we're looking at the moment. Let's see if we can get back to Tim Page and find out whether he gets that machine started. No, he's out of it. He is out of the race, in fact. But out of the last corner, it's Paul Hudson that takes his 3rd win of the day. Great driving from Paul Hudson.
Ex-motocross here, see. It's all coming back.
So despite a great meeting for Paul Hudson, he's still in 9th place after missing the first round of the championship. Anthony Jackson is the man who leads from Phil Redfern in 2nd place and Jake Swan in 3rd. Tony Turner clawing a position up the leaderboard in 4th. Blyton Park in Lincolnshire played host to round 4, but on a familiar circuit, could anybody catch the championship leader?
I think my highlight was probably at Rednall, had 3 wins. I mean, it's my best result. I'd never had a podium before that, so to get 3 wins, it was brilliant.
650 Superlite race 1.
They get away, and it looks like a great start for Jake Swan. Time to look at his mirrors. Also, Tony Turner in 2nd place, just looking in his mirrors to see that Anthony Jackson in the number 41 machine has got himself into 3rd place. That looks like Paul Hudson, number 4, just coming up to be lapped by these guys. So Paul definitely got a problem running slow, actually pulling off into the pits there, Chris. So you were right to point out that Paul had some sort of problem that had kept him off the front of the grid.
Well, going up the inside, Jake Swan then passing it back Mark and Michael Bradbury in the number 100 Superlite. I think making his debut today in this round 4 of the British Championship, but great to see new drivers always taking part.
There, the man in the number 21 machine, Wayne Stockbridge, is definitely having a go, and Danny Kerwood has run unfeasibly wide there. Jake Swan coming up towards the line to take the checkered flag and the race win in the first race of the day in the 650 Superlights. 2nd pole position for Jake of the day. The lights go out and away they go, and it's another...
And more problems for Paul Hudson
Wayne Stockbridge just having a bit of an excursion off track and managing to avoid the cones, Chris.
There's a real battle on here between these two, and moving out of the slipstream up the inside goes
Gordon Knox there, managing to get the pass, Chris, and that's the 100 machine of Michael Bradbury. He's another one having an excursion off circuit.
Yeah, maybe just outbraked himself a little bit. Very easy to do, and certainly not the first person to have ever done that on that last corner there in the run up to the finish line. Now going very, very deep. Goes
Gordon Knox again,
Gordon
getting
Knox.
a big problem with the brakes, and he's been passed by Danny Kerwood. So that fantastic pass down the start finish straight from Gordon Knox, and then he's got it all wrong going into the dirt section, and Danny Kerwood's just kept a cool head and sneaked through.
Phil Redfern at the back of this train here, putting pressure on Anthony Jackson there, and
Anthony Jackson and Phil Redfern both managing to force the issue and push their way past Gordon Knox. So again, in that same position on the track, maybe Gordon's inexperience just showing, and he's made another Horlicks of it a little bit and lost another 2 places.
Anthony Jackson pulls the pin and gets past Danny Kerwood there too in this train also, but then locks it up. Phil Redfern's through, taking full advantage of that, as you predicted, Luke. Absolute textbook move there, real aggressive driving style from Phil Redfern, putting all the pressure on Tim Page. He looks left, he looks right in his wing mirrors and trying to see where the challenge will mount. I suspect it's going to be here if Redfern can get the power down. He goes out wide though, over the rumble strips, pulls it back to the inside. Page moving across a little bit defensive line, right over the white line on the inside, but it's still the course, going out very, very wide. Phil Redfern there, pulls the pin, makes the pass, and he's up yet another place as he takes the checkered flag. A great victory then for Jake Swan for the second time today in 650 Superlite race number 2.
If he can get this one in the bag, that will be pole position and 3 wins, so that's the job done entirely. There's the start. Jake's got off the line, he's in first place. There's Danny Kerwood a little bit further down the field, coming under the attentions of Gordon Knox, and I think that's Phil Redfern forcing the issue again in that same point on the track. Phil Redfern getting the better of Gordon Knox again. Gordon's not got himself sorted out in that bit of the track, and I think the day's coming to an end before he's got it sussed.
Yeah, Phil Redfern absolutely been steaming his way through, and contact there with the rear wheel of Danny Kerwood there. Whether Kerwood saw the challenge from Phil Redfern, but he's just trying to hustle him out of the way. Massive understeer there for Redfern. Gordon Knox has a look at coming back at him, but is there a way through?
And there's that battle that we were seeing before. That's Phil Redfern trying to force the issue with Danny Kerwood and try and see if he can get up the inside. Some really fantastic wheel-to-wheel battling here, and is Phil Redfern going around the outside? He is, as he managed to make it stick.
Side by side, and he's gone
Danny
deep.
Kerwood's coming back to him. No, Phil Redfern's made his stick. Another brilliant performance in that part of the circuit from Phil Redfern, and now he's going to disappear off into the distance. Yeah, Tim Page looked very, very nervous coming down that start-finish straight. He was looking in his mirrors, not where he was going. He was looking in his mirrors. That's the reason why.
He's through.
Yeah, Tim Page made that mistake again in that section of the track, the dirt section. You could just see that he was really feeling the pressure from the man behind him, Anthony Jackson. Now Jake Swan comes to take his final win of the day in the final race of the day. 3 out of 3 for Jake Swan in the 650 Superlights.
Just tucked in behind Jake and took 3 seconds. I had Anthony Jackson and Phil Redfern behind me, giving me a bit of a nudge here and there, trying to get past, but I kept it nice and tight, so that was the main thing.
So the 650 Championship standings, a great meeting for Tony Turner to relegate Phil Redfern to 4th place. Anthony Jackson still the man on the top spot, with Jake Swan in 2nd and Tony Turner now taking 3rd.
The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com. The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.
Back in Wigan for round 5, competition was getting serious. Anthony Jackson's championship lead was dwindling as his rivals closed in, but getting the right setup could be key. With 2 new drivers at the top of the championship, everyone had a point to prove.
It's my first season last season, so I'm not really expected to do much, but done pretty well.
So the drivers get underway with race number 1 in the 650s here at the Three Sisters race circuit here in Wigan, and we're on board there from the man in first place, Jake Swan, looking back at Tony Turner in the number 84 Superlite in second place there, and I think Tony's just managed to get himself in front of number 41 Anthony Jackson. Brilliant onboard shots there from the reverse angle from Jake Swan, the man out front, but Jake's got the start, and as we've seen before, Chris, he's got a nice turn of pace when he's got fresh air in front of him.
Well, he's got a turn of pace right behind him. That's Tony Turner. Interesting to see that rear view facing camera. There it is again, a little bit wobbly, and that's just caused by the vibration. So much torque in these 650 machines. Tony Turner having a look up the inside then as they come down paddock straight, and Anthony Jackson bringing it up the rear in third there at the moment, but Jake Swan at the moment got the measure of this.
Phil Redfern in the number 50 machine, Chris, now putting a little bit of pressure onto Anthony Jackson in third place. So Phil not with the best of starts to this race, but he's certainly finding his pace now.
Oh, drifting it out wide and sliding it there, trying to get the power down early, but yeah, no surprise. I mean, certainly recent form has shown that Phil Redfern's not been making the best of starts, but has really been fighting his way through the field in some style as well, and it's been rather entertaining to watch so far this season, watching Phil as he absolutely anchors the brakes there, turning it in there. Anthony Jackson, though, really under pressure there is Phil Redfern, battling past the back marker. That's Michael Bradbury.
Michael Bradbury in the red 100 Superlite there.
Phil Redfern's past there. Anthony Jackson pushing him wide onto the dirt. Now Jackson not getting passed back by the back marker to effectively unlap himself, but a little bit of bother there for him.
And any moment now we'll probably be seeing the checkered flag on board with Jake Swan as he takes the win.
There is the checkered flag, and Jake Swan, our deserved winner in 650 Superlite race number 1.
So here we go then, the drivers on the grid, and the race director points them to the starting lights. A little bit of movement on the second row there, just on the far side, but a great start again from Jake Swan in the 110 machine. He's out front, and at the moment that's the view on the onboard, I think, with Tony Turner in second place, just trying to chase down Jake Swan. But another great start from Jake Swan. Tim Page was soaring away at the old steering wheel there to try and stay ahead of Anthony Jackson in the number 41 machine behind him, and I think it's fair to say that on Anthony Jackson's agenda is past Tim Page.
Well, yeah, I would say so. Smoothly closing the door, I think the phrase was actually from Tim Page, but Anthony Jackson picking up Paul Hudson now, coming under some pressure from Sadie Redfern, who I think's not sure if she's on the attack or the defence from the driver behind her.
And that's Paul Hudson. He's trying to chase down ahead of him Anthony Jackson, and Anthony Jackson looks like he's just about put enough pressure onto Tim Page to force Tim into making a mistake. We've cut away from that to the back at the front, and we're with Jake Swan, but looked like Anthony Jackson had managed to make the pass on Tim Page, forcing Tim to make a mistake. We're on board with Tony Turner now as he tries to chase down Jake Swan, the race leader. Yeah, there's a confirmation, number 41, as Anthony Jackson has forced the issue, got past Tim Page, and now Tim Page is coming under the attentions of Paul Hudson, who I think it's fair to say gave him a little nudge from behind there. Looks like also Sadie has managed to maybe get past Gordon Knox, or maybe that's the other way around, and that's the pass from Gordon. Yeah, great move from Gordon. It's very wide. Sadie comes back at him.
Here is the man to take the checker flag, Jake Swan, his second race win of the afternoon. Fantastic stuff from Jake.
So the drivers get underway with 650 race 3, and again it looks like Jake Swan has got the best of it in terms of the run to the first turn, but Tony Turner may have just forced the issue, but he's going to be going out round the outside into the next turn, the left-hander. So Jake Swan doing enough to get into first place again in the third race of the day here at Three Sisters in Wigan.
And problems for number 3 there, Mike Bayliss.
Yeah, Mike Bayliss has run wide there, and it looks like he's lost power as well.
Oops. Going backwards.
That's 100 Michael Bradbury. Fair recovery, rolling backwards into the scenery there, but stuck it back in gear and got it all sorted out very quickly and has rejoined without too much of a problem. There's Phil Redfern coming under the attentions of Paul Hudson, and we've seen Paul have a very, very good round recently at Finmere, where the dirt section, being a lot of dirt, a former motocross rider, and Paul definitely had a fun time playing in the dirt there, but at the moment Phil Redfern doing a steady job of staying in third place here at Three Sisters. That's number 21 trying to force his way upside Danny Kerr, but that's a big issue. That hands up in the air, and that's Wayne Stockbridge there just trying to force his way up the inside of Danny Kerwood, but didn't put the anchors out enough to get round the corner and ran into Danny. Danny's managed to rejoin there, but that was almost could have been worse anyway.
I tell you what, Wayne Stockbridge clearly plays football, because the second he went in for a hard tackle, the arms were up in the air. What me, Gov, as there's more battling going on there with Tim Page and Gordon Knox there.
Yeah, Tim Page just having to reorganise his wing mirror.
And still still this battle carrying on then with Sadie Redfern. Gordon Knox steaming up the inside. He did that move to Sadie before, didn't he?
He did, yeah, but that time he didn't run wide so much, and Sadie was almost forced to leap out of the way there. But Jake Swan takes the win in race number 3 here at Three Sisters in Wigan.
Second overall at Brighton, second overall last time we was here, third overall at Finmere. It's getting a bit, I just want that number 1 spot. But Jake's on fire, he's quick. I nearly had him on the line this time. I kept it pinned, but he just squeezed me out, and I tried to keep up with him, but he's just got a little bit more pace than me.
So Jake Swan, the new man at the top of the 650 standings. Anthony Jackson relegated to second place and Tony Turner in third. Further down the field, just 1 point separating Danny Kerwood and Gordon Knox for fifth. The championship made a welcome return to Teesside for round 6, and with all eyes on the action as a new leader rolled into town, everyone was busy making sure they didn't miss out on the fun. Just 36 points separated the top 4, but still with 3 rounds remaining, anything could give. But defiant in qualifying, Jake Swan took pole position for the first race, while Paul Hudson and Tony Turner on the front row reminded him they weren't finished just yet.
The drivers are on the grid just looking up to the right of our screen. They're looking for the start lights. The start lights go out and pretty much everybody gets away well, but the best of the bunch, definitely Jake Swan from pole position. And now Tony Turner just managing to go around the outside of Paul Hudson. So Jake Swan in first place, Tony Turner second, and Paul Hudson in third. I think Anthony Jackson in the 41 Superlite in fourth place there, but a fairly clean start from everybody. It's going to be very busy around this circuit, Chris, because there's lots of twisty bits and then some really fast flat out bits to the far end of the circuit.
Yeah, Anthony Jackson forcing his way past Sadie Redfern first, and then Gordon Knox, number 47, that we just see coming through here and through the chicane. So 2 positions up, and problems for Gordon Knox. Phil Redfern forcing the issue now, going around the outside of Anthony Jackson, getting the power down. He's going to look for the cutback. Is he going to get it around this long left-hander? Anthony Jackson clipping the nose there as
Phil Redfern puts 2 wheels on the grass, speedway style, half his vehicle on the grass and the other half just about on the tarmac. But a great pass from Phil Redfern. So Jake Swan does the business in 650 race number 1, and he takes the win. Brilliant performance from Jake.
I'm really happy with that. I'm coming here hoping to be in the top 3 or 5, and I've done it first race, so let's carry on.
We get on now with race number 2, and another fantastic start from Jake Swan to get the better of Tony Turner into the first turn. Paul Hudson again in third place, and Phil Redfern up to fourth ahead of the man in the 41 machine, Anthony Jackson. Then I think Sadie Redfern just making a pass on Anthony if she can.
Around the outside goes Paul Hudson.
Wow.
Great pass.
What a pass from Paul Hudson. He just stuck his foot down and kept it planted.
Jake Swan almost like a machine out in front.
There's the checkered flag, and Jake Swan just does a little wave to the checkered flag to say thank you very much, I'll have another race win.
You've got to nail it every lap after lap after lap, just dial it in and keep going for it.
Open at Superlite race 3. Great start for Jake off the inside once again here, Luke.
Yeah, brilliant start from Jake Swan again, but Phil Redfern may be doing enough to pinch second place here. He's got it up the inside of Paul Hudson, and will Sadie Redfern, his daughter, be able to follow him through? She certainly got the better of Tony Turner, so Sadie Redfern starting on the grid in 5th place, briefly up into 4th, but Tony Turner's trying to get the better of that one, doesn't manage to do it, so Sadie now contesting things with her dad to briefly try and see if she could pinch 3rd. As you say, Jake Swan's been very quick this season. Sadie Redfern's going to get told off by Dad later on, and hopefully nobody runs into her. She was a bit prone in the middle of the track there, but yeah, unfortunate for Sadie, and the turning circle of these things not enough to get her past the barrier, so now she'll have the indignity of trying to find reverse.
Just looking at this low angle on board, I think that's from Tony Turner, as he is now locked in battle, capitalising on Sadie's mistake there to have a go at her dad too. Phil Redfern, of course.
But now these 4 are all sort of pretty much locked together, and Jake Swan and Paul Hudson in 1st and 2nd have just completely cleared off, and they're not even in the same shot when we get a view from behind.
Absolutely, I'm not even sure about locked together. Certainly locking up is Tim Page, as he's really having a go at Tony Turner on the brakes. He has a look up the inside. I'm not sure if that was more on the attack or the defence here from Anthony Jackson behind him, but he goes wide, I think fairly safe in the knowledge that he's got the inside line as they go around here and getting the power down now. I think actually driving quite sensibly here, Tim Page here, to make sure he's defending his line, whilst he's also having a quick look at Tony ahead of him.
Tony Turner seems to have managed to squeeze past Phil Redfern briefly there, but Phil's up the inside again as they go into the left-hander and then into the right-hander, so Phil Redfern may be managing to do enough to hold on to 3rd place. and somebody's left the circuit just briefly there. But Jake Swan, another win and 3 out of 3 in the 650 class.
Got a good start, a really good start. Got up to second, and then Paul took me coming into the third corner. And then it was just a set case of playing catch-up then. These two were off, and I was just left defending.
So as Jake Swan gets a bit of a buffer, Anthony Jackson takes second place, just 2 points ahead of Tony Turner in third. Further down the field, Paul Hudson and Danny Kerwood are separated by just 1 point.
The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com. The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.
Back at Blighton for round 7 of the 2013 British Superlite Championship, just 2 points separated second and third as they went into the penultimate round. To say Tony Turner and Anthony Jackson were up for it would have been an understatement, but even further down the field, nobody had lost sight of the man they were all now trying to chase.
My aim is to try and catch Jake and get past him. I mean, T-side was the closest I've been. I've actually got alongside him there, but he's so clean and tidy out there.
We've got a non-starter there, that's number 88, Andrew Crombie, at the side of the track, so he's not managed to get off the grid, but the man who gets the best of it getting away from the grid is out front there. That's Tony Turner in the number 84 Superlite ahead of Jake Swan in the 110 Superlite second place, Phil Redfern in third. There's number 100 just getting onto the circuit. That's Michael Bradbury. So Michael's starting from the pits, so maybe some problems for him.
And it's really, challenging the drivers. Tony Turner, of course, seems to have got the best of it. You see him get the power down wheel spinning with the rear wheels there in the dirt. Number 88,
Andrew Crombie, he actually seemed to start in that position from the start-finish line, sort of facing the wrong way, and he's got off the track there and got in a bit of a muddle again. That's Tim Page just coming under the attentions of Joe Walton there, a little bit further down the field. I think those two battling. That's number 92. Yeah, Joe Walton just battling with Tim Page.
I think he's done it up the inside goes Joe Walton. So a great. I didn't think he quite did it as they all vanished into the distance. And number 88 pulling up again there.
But this is his battle again between number 69 Tim Page and number 92 Joe Walton. Joe's not been able to find the key to unlock the door that is making a pass on Tim Page. And as I say, that Tim Page runs wide and Joe just sneaks through the gap. Thank you very much.
I think he actually unlocked it and opened the door for him. But actually, this time Joe going wide, Tim Page coming back, and Joe spun it 180. Well, Tony Turner really coming under pressure from Jake here.
Last lap there, Chris. Yep.
He's out, and can he do enough here? Absolutely all over the back wheel of Tony Turner is Jake Swan here.
Tony Turner, can he hang on for one more lap here and get a win against Jake Swan? Jake Swan certainly hanging on to the back of Tony Turner's rear bumper there.
Tony having a look exactly where Jake is coming from, and as Jake got the slipstream, can he get up the inside? He can't at the moment. It looks like it's Tony Turner, Luke.
Yeah, Tony Turner taking the win in 650, race number 1.
When I got out in front on first corner, I was on it. I knew Jake would be pushing me. He had some good tyres on, but I got away, I held my line, and I'm absolutely ecstatic for that. It's taken a while this year.
Tony Turner looking to try and make it 2 out of 2 in terms of fantastic starts, but he may have to wait a while. But finally, the lights do go out, and he looks across to see how everybody else is doing. We can see there that I think Jake Swan had left his Superlite on the centre green there, Chris. Jake Swan's not made the start. He's had a problem with his Superlite. We can see Jake there just climbing out of the front of his Superlite. So Jake Swan's missed the start, chucked his steering wheel on the roof, and he's looking to see what's going on. And I think, if I remember rightly, Jake's got 2 Superlites, so he may actually leg it back to the. He's legging it back to the pits to go and jump in his other Superlite.
Phil Redfern's out too as well, and he's got problems. Is he going to do the same? This is a completely new sport. Jake Swan.
Jake Swan in his second Superlite.
It's a triathlon here.
That could be is it number 69?
Oh, it's Tony Turner, the race leader, who's just pulled off the track. Can Can you believe it? Tony Turner is, well, it looks like he's got problems, and he actually holds his helmet with his hands, and
Tony Turner chucks his steering wheel out.
That's he's well and truly out of the pram.
That's a metaphorical dummy coming out the front of Tony Turner's Superlite, and you've got to sympathise with him there, because Jake Swan, he's seen that Jake Swan's not made the start, and he's just chucked the steering wheel out there, because that must be an absolute gutter. Paul Hudson has found himself in first place again, something he did quite a lot at Finmere, and we said, Chris, great in the dirt section, and Paul Hudson's taken a win in 650 race 2. Brilliant performance from him.
I think he must have broke a joint or something on his suspension, and the wheel came off. I just managed to get round him, and the rest is history. I just got up there and went for it.
This is going to be an absolute rip snorter of a race, because we've got three of the top drivers in this championship all coming off the back of the grid, and I don't think we've seen that at any point previously this season.
It's
so this
like
one
a reverse grid race. This
is almost like a reverse grid race that we see in things like British Touring Car Championships, and you can see the sort of starts that are going on. Tony Turner up the inside manages to make up about 5 places. There's all sorts of dodgems and bumper cars, carnage. Poor old Phil Redfern's up against the barrier on the inside. That's not great. His daughter Sadie Redfern's there just in the inside. So that was a case of 13 into 2 won't go, and let's hope everybody's okay.
Well, Phil Redfern caught up there. I think Jake Swan was going around the outside. I'm not sure what happened to him. Sadie Redfern retiring from the race. Probably Phil too as well. I think Tony Turner saw 2 as well. So whether he's away cleanly, I'm not sure. But at the moment, Paul Hudson getting away and pretty lucky to be well clear of that. Phil Redfern's going as well, so his daughter Sadie's retiring, as we saw in the pink Superlite just in the foreground there.
Last of the late Jake breakers, Jake Swan up the inside into the right-hander at the end of the start finish straight. Brilliant braking out manoeuvre there from Jake Swan and Anthony Jackson. The way he's going, Jake Swan probably got his eye on seeing if he can force the issue and get all the way to the front, but there's a bit of a battle going on into that left-hander. There's Tony Turner, so he's still going with Phil Redfern behind him, so those two starting off the back row, and another job where Phil Redfern's really managed to get the power down up the inside. He's got himself sorted out, he knows where that blue groove is. He's got past Tony Turner, and now he's trying to chase down the man in front of him. I think he's number 69, and that is Tim Page.
Yeah, great battling here.
Even as well there.
Then we're battling, or looking at with number 33. Massive oversteer for him, Paul Smythe. And, problems too for Joe Walton there. He's done exactly the same thing just on the corner before.
That man in the number 4 machine is Paul Hudson. He's at the front, and Jake Swan is in second place and trying to force the issue to get into first.
It's just incredible, isn't it, from Jake?
Emphatic performance from Jake Swan, and it would be quite an achievement. Oh, there's the checkered flag. Unfortunately, no opportunity for Jake Swan to get the win, but a brilliant performance nevertheless.
I was lucky enough I started in 13th and got up to second, so I can't really complain. I was lucky enough to miss all the carnage, dive my way around it, so no, I was quite happy with that, most definitely.
So a great meeting for Jake Swan, giving him quite a bit of a buffer over Anthony Jackson in second and Tony Turner in third. 3 points separating Gordon Knox from Sadie Redfern for 8th place. So the finale of the 8-round championship concluded at the place where it began, Three Sisters Kart Circuit in Wigan. Nobody could afford to make a mistake, and everybody still had that hunger to win.
Personal thing for me is winning my first race at Blyton. It took 7 rounds for me to win a race. I mean, I've had loads of seconds, loads of thirds. I've always sort of got a trophy, but it's never been first.
650 Superlite race 1.
And it's a good start from that man, Jake Swan, who is definitely the main championship contender today, Chris, here at Three Sisters. Basically, if Jake can keep it on the black stuff and stay out front, I think he's got this in the bag.
Yeah, it's certainly looking that way. Just riding on board with Tony Turner there, who starts in P2 then, giving chase. Now coming under pressure from Anthony Jackson at the inside though. And here comes Anthony Jackson. Has he got the run here as he goes into that right-hander? Tony really late on the brakes there and seeming to absolutely floor it into that corner. As up the inside comes Paul Hudson, having a look at Phil Redfern, and the door shut there, and a lot of curb taken from Paul Hudson there.
Phil Redfern's there.
Oh, there is Phil Redfern.
Just going to say he's disappeared, but he comes back into the shot, and Phil's broken down. Nightmare for Phil Redfern. Jake, barring any sudden mechanical failures, has got race 1 all sewn up. Plenty of time to look in his mirrors. Yellow flag there, so somebody's broken down just on the approach to the checkered flag. But Jake Swan takes the win in race number 1. Twitching a little bit on the inside, I think that was Paul Hudson in the number 4 Superlite, but Jake Swan getting an immaculate start yet again. Tony Turner, forced wide, finds himself in 3rd place, so Paul Hudson, or is it Anthony Jackson, could do it getting the extra points there.
Yeah, well, we're riding on board actually with Tony Turner there, and just, well, seemingly going wide, but knowing he had the inside line for the next corner, so that worked to his advantage. A quick look in his wing mirror there to see Anthony behind him.
Yeah, Anthony Jackson in 3rd place, and a great start from Danny Kerwood there, by the looks of things, getting himself into 4th place.
Oh, on the brakes! And Phil Redfern putting it all sorts of sideways there, scrubbing off all his speed through Valley, and well, that's cost him a bit of time here, because he did well actually, because I said it wasn't that long before he managed to work through his field and get on the back of this group of drivers here. And off the final turn, here comes Jake Swan then to take another great win then, and it looks like he's our 650 champion, because I think mathematically no one can catch him now.
I was lucky enough to scoot away, and in a bit of rain, I'm near enough the only one on wets, so a bit of rain done me a world of good.
The lights go out, and it looks like another fantastic start from Jake Swan on the outside, and a great start from the man in 41 in 3rd place, Anthony Jackson. So it's as you were. Somebody sliding very, very wide out there is caught out by the levels of grip there. That's number 69, Tim Page.
Yeah.
He finds himself at the back with plenty of people to try and pass, with Paul Smythe in front of him. Anthony Jackson could do without, but being hassled and harried by the man behind him is...
around the outside goes Paul Hudson or Phil Redfern. Redfern's on the brakes there, pushing Hudson wide. Redfern keeps that position just about, as these two really duking it out here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Paul Hudson's got himself passed by Phil Redfern, but also that man, I was just going to say, Anthony Jackson could do with getting away from Danny Kerwood, who's just behind him, and trying to get past Tony Turner, because if Anthony Jackson can actually get more points than Tony Turner and get Tony under pressure from this pack that's prowling here, he might be able to pinch 2nd in the championship.
When the track's a little bit slippery like this, anything can happen, as here comes Phil Redfern up the inside of Danny Kerwood there. A bit of a block pass going on there. I thought Paul Hudson might have even had a look in, sneaking up the inside, but he got himself too involved in that one. And now problems for Tim Page, number 69 there, and well, I'm not sure if he span or what. He seemed to be rolling backwards. I'm not sure whether he was allowing that to happen or whether he's actually stalled it. Paul Hudson just a little bit late on the brakes. I'm not sure if there was contact there, but that cost him another little tap there. I think he's just trying to say get out of the way. A little shake in the head from Paul Hudson, and through he comes.
Another one with the old tyre on the grass there, and that means that Anthony Jackson's got a better run down towards this right-hander, but I think Paul...
He's done it on the inside. No, he's got it, but actually Paul Hudson has got the inside line for this one. The two neck in neck as they're turning into his left-hander. I thought the cameraman was going to cop it and everything then.
Paul Hudson can't necessarily get the better of Anthony in the championship, but he can get the moral victory if he can beat him on the track. Yeah, absolutely.
Another little tap, and he's done it. He's got the power down. He's kept it a little bit more honest. Anthony Jackson coming back at him up the inside. He's not got the run this time, and Paul closing the door quite wisely as well, to be fair. And here comes Jake Swan with one corner remaining then, a little bit crossed up as he comes over the line to take the win then.
It's been amazing to watch the progression for your first full year of Superlite racing. How have you found it?
It's been tough, but it's been brilliant. As I said, everyone around it's just brilliant. You know, we've had the competition's brilliant. It's just all generally pretty good, really. Can't complain at all. Had a fantastic year.
Who you enjoyed racing against?
Tony's been brilliant. He's so fair, so consistent. He's just a brilliant driver.
Well, by 4 points, Tony Turner takes 2nd place ahead of Anthony Jackson in 3rd. Paul Hudson finishes in 4th place, but it's Jake Swan who takes the 650 British Championship for 2013.
The British Superlite Championship, sponsored by wanttoliveafloat.com.